The courtroom was supposed to be quiet, formal, and controlled, but the second those heavy double doors swung open, the entire energy shifted. All eyes turned as Jasmine, wearing a tailored black dress and an expression sharp enough to cut glass, walked straight down the aisle. Rasheeda froze mid-sentence. Even Kirk's smug smile faltered. Nobody expected her to show up today, and definitely not with a thick manila folder clutched in her perfectly manicured hands. The judge tried to keep order, but whispers swept through the room like wildfire. "Is that Jasmine? What's in that folder? Oh, it's about..." To get messy, Jasmine didn't waste a second. She marched right up to the table where Rasheeda and her lawyer sat, placed the folder down with a thud, and slid it across. "You're gonna want to see this," she said coldly. Inside, page after page of bank statements, text messages, and photographs, the kind of evidence that could shatter whatever was left of Kirk's defense. And then, as if the room wasn't already on the edge of chaos, Jasmine locked eyes with Rasheeda and whispered something only the two of them could hear. Rasheeda's face went pale. Nobody knows exactly what Jasmine said, but the look that followed told everyone in that courtroom one thing. This hearing had just gone from a legal battle to loud war. And the worst part? Those weren't even the most damaging receipts Jasmine had with her. Those were still in her bag. The sound of that folder hitting the polished oak table echoed louder than the judge's gavel. Rasheeda's lawyer, mid-sentence, stopped cold and glanced at his. Client Rasheeda didn't move at first. She just stared at the folder like it might explode if she touched it. "Ms. Washington." The judge's voice broke the tension. "You were not scheduled to testify today. Do you have business before this court?" Jasmine turned slowly toward the bench, her expression unreadable. "Your Honor, I have evidence that directly impacts the financial disclosures in this divorce case. Evidence that Mr. Frost has not submitted despite being legally required to do so." A ripple of gasps swept through the gallery. Kirk's attorney immediately shot to his feet. "Objection, Your Honor. This is a stunt, and Ms. Washington is not a party to this case." Overruled, the judge cut him off, eyes narrowing. "If she has material evidence, we will hear it." Jasmine gave a slow, satisfied smile and pushed the folder toward Rasheeda's lawyer. "You might want to start with page 6, she said. Her voice almost casual. Rasheeda's hands trembled as she reached for it. The moment she opened the folder, her breath caught. Bank statements, not from the accounts already in dispute, but from new ones, counts in Kirk's name opened under an LLC nobody had heard of before. The transactions were recent, large deposits, large withdrawals. All while Kirk had been claiming he was nearly broke. Rasheeda looked up sharply, locking eyes with him. "You've been lying to the court?" she said under her breath. Kirk shifted in his seat, his jaw tight. "You don't know what you're looking at." Jasmine wasn't done. "Flip to page 11, she said. The room seemed to lean forward as Rasheeda's lawyer turned the page. There it was, a scanned copy of a lease agreement for a property in Miami, signed by Kirk just 2 months ago. The tenant's name wasn't his, but the payments were coming directly from one of the hidden accounts. Rasheeda's lawyer's voice was icy. "Who lives here, Mr. Frost?" Kirk's attorney interjected. "My client is under no obligation to answer questions." That the judge slammed the gavel. "He will answer." Now, Kirk swallowed hard. "It's a business property." Jasmine leaned forward from the witness row. "Funny, because I've been there. And it's definitely not being used for business." A low murmur of shock rolled through the courtroom. The judge motioned for silence. "Ms. Washington, are you prepared to testify under oath regarding these statements?" Jasmine stood. Absolutely. Within minutes, she was sworn in and seated at the witness stand. Rasheeda sat perfectly still, every muscle in her body taut. Her eyes locked on Jasmine as if willing her to keep going. "Ms. Washington," Rasheeda's lawyer began, "how did you come into possession of these documents?" Jasmine smirked. "Let's just say Kirk didn't think anyone was paying attention. But people talk. especially when they're mad at him. I had a friend who worked at the bank where one of these accounts is held. When she saw the name on the account holder, she called me. Kirk slammed a hand on the table. This is illegal. This is a violation of privacy. The judge raised a hand. Mr. Frost, if these accounts were not disclosed during the discovery process, that is the violation we are concerned with. Continue, Ms. Washington. Jasmine nodded. From there, it wasn't hard. I traced the transfers, multiple payments to property managers, high-end jewelry stores, and travel agencies. Most of it matched trips I know he took but claimed. Word for work, Rasheeda's face darkened. You're telling me he's been using our money to fund vacations and gifts for other women? Jasmine didn't hesitate. Not just women. One woman in particular. The room erupted again, whispers darting between rows of spectators. Who? Rasheeda demanded. Jasmine's gaze slid to Kirk, and she spoke slowly, each word deliberate. Tasha Reed. Rasheeda's lips parted in shock. She knew the name. Everyone did. Tasha was someone Kirk had been linked 2 years ago. It's an affair that nearly ended their marriage the first time. You've got to be kidding me, Rasheeda whispered, her voice trembling with fury. Kirk's eyes darted between them. This is ridiculous. Tasha is a friend. She's a tenant in your Miami property. Jasmine cut in, her tone dripping with venom. And according to these records, you've been paying her rent for the last 8 months, in full, on time. Every time, the judge banged the gavel again, calling for order. These are serious allegations, Mr. Frost. We will recess for 30 minutes so counsel can review this new evidence. As the court cleared, Rasheeda leaned in close to Kirk, her voice low but lethal. You've been hiding money, lying to the court, and keeping your side chick in a beachfront condo while I'm here fighting for what's mine. Do you have any idea what's about to happen to you? Kirk didn't answer. Jasmine, gathering her things, passed by Rasheeda's table and whispered just loud enough for her to hear. That's not even half of what I've got. Rasheeda's heart pounded. If this was only the beginning, then the rest could be devastating, not just to Kirk's finances, but to his entire reputation. And if Jasmine really had more, it meant the next time she opened that folder, the whole city might hear the fallout. The 30-minute recess felt like an eternity. Rasheeda stood in the courthouse hallway, pacing near the vending machines while her lawyer pored over the documents Jasmine had brought. Every few steps, she caught sight of reporters gathering at the end of the hall. Their cameras ready, sensing that something big was unfolding inside. When the bailiff called them back in, the air was even heavier than before. Kirk walked in first, his jaw tight, followed closely by his lawyer, who was flipping through pages with visible frustration. Rasheeda entered moments later, her chin high, her expression unreadable. Jasmine was already seated, calm and poised, like she had been waiting for this moment her entire life. As soon as the judge reconvened, Rasheeda's lawyer stood. Your Honor, after reviewing the new evidence, we believe there is not only a pattern of financial misconduct, but also intentional fraud against my client and this court. Kirk's lawyer scoffed. We dispute the authenticity of these documents. They could have been fabricated. They weren't fabricated, Jasmine said loudly, cutting him off. The judge turned sharply toward her, but she didn't flinch. And I have proof to back it up. Crew, the judge said, clearly intrigued. Jasmine reached into her bag and pulled out another folder. This one's slimmer, but with a bright red sticker that read private. This, she said, is a USB drive containing recorded phone calls, email exchanges, and photographs that link Kirk directly to at least 4 separate accounts he never disclosed. It also includes video footage of him personally making cash deposits. The courtroom erupted again, the sound of shocked gasps bouncing off the walls. Kirk's head whipped toward her. You had someone following me? Jasmine's smirk was razor sharp. Not just someone, several someones. They were very good at their jobs. Rasheeda's lawyer took the drive from Jasmine and handed it to the court clerk, who passed it to the judge. The judge inserted it into a laptop, and moments later, The room was filled with the sound of Kirk's own voice on speaker. "Yeah, just put it into the Cayman account. Use the business name, not mine. Let's make sure it's in before Friday." The sound was crisp, undeniable. Kirk's lawyer shifted uncomfortably, but Kirk sat frozen, his expression dark dot. Then came the next clip, a series of screenshots showing email confirmations for wire transfers to an account under the name K, Frost Holdings LLC. Attached to one email was a note for Tasha's expenses. Rasheeda's eyes closed for a moment, her jaw tight. Every fiber of her being wanted to scream, but she kept her composure. "Mr. Frost," the judge said, her tone clipped. "These." Kirk opened his mouth to respond, but Jasmine wasn't done. "Oh, and about that Miami property. I have something else." She reached into her bag again, pulling out a stack of glossy photographs. "These were taken last month. That's Kirk. And that's not Tasha. That's Lauren, the same woman he's been seen with in Paris." The gallery exploded into murmurs. Even Rasheeda looked stunned. She'd never heard of this Lauren before. Kirk's lawyer slammed his palm on the table. "Your Honor, this is turning into a smear campaign. This is evidence," Jasmine snapped. "Evidence that shows a pattern of deceit, financial manipulation, and infidelity. You can call it a smear campaign if you want, but every page in here is verifiable." The judge motioned for silence. "Ms. Washington, you understand that by providing this evidence, you are opening yourself up to cross-examination." "Understand," Jasmine said coolly. Kirk's lawyer pounced. "Then let's start. Ms. Washington, isn't it true that you have a personal grudge against my client? That you've had multiple public altercations with him and his wife?" Jasmine didn't blink. "It's true that Kirk and I have history, but this isn't about me. This is about him breaking the law and lying to the court. And I'll happily take the stand under oath to prove it." The judge leaned back, assessing the tension boiling in the room. "Very well, we'll schedule additional testimony from Ms. Washington. In the meantime, this court orders an immediate forensic audit of all accounts associated with Mr. Frost, personal or corporate." The bailiff scribbled down the order as murmurs erupted again. Rasheeda looked over at Jasmine, a mix of gratitude and shock in her eyes, as the judge banged the gavel to signal another recess. Kirk leaned toward his lawyer, speaking in a low, urgent tone, but it wasn't quiet enough. The microphones picked up fragments. She wasn't supposed to know about Lauren. This could ruin everything. Jasmine caught Rasheeda's eye across the room. "Told you," she mouthed. Rasheeda's lawyer leaned in close to her. "If these accounts are as big as they look, you're not just getting your share. You could take him for everything." Rasheeda straightened her back, her voice low and fierce. "Good, because that's exactly what I plan to do." But as the courtroom buzzed with speculation, Rasheeda couldn't shake one thought. If Jasmine had been holding back, what else could she possibly have that was worse than this? The judge's gavel had barely silenced the chatter when Jasmine leaned forward, her eyes locked on Rasheeda. "Your Honor," she said smoothly, "before we adjourn, I have one more thing. And I think this will make everything else we've seen today look like child's play." Kirk's head snapped toward her, his jaw tightening. "Don't do this," he muttered under his breath. "Oh, I'm doing this," Jasmine replied, her tone cold and deliberate. The judge raised an eyebrow. "Teed." Jasmine reached into her bag, the same bag that had already pulled out damning folders, USB drives, and photographs, and withdrew a slim black leather binder. She placed it on the table in front of her with the care of someone handling a live explosive. "This," she said, unzipping it, "it's a signed agreement between Kirk Frost and a third party. One that proves not only has he been hiding money, but that he's been actively moving marital funds to protect them from seizure during this divorce." Kirk's lawyer jumped up. "Objection. We have not seen this document before. That's because he didn't want you to." Jasmine fired back. The judge waved for her to continue. "Show us what you have." Jasmine slid the agreement across to the court clerk, who handed it to the judge. As the judge's eyes scanned the pages, the temperature in the room seemed to drop. This is a trust, the judge said slowly, set up in the name of Lauren Frost. Gasps erupted from the gallery. Rasheeda sat perfectly still, her face a mask hiding a storm. And according to the notarized dates, the judge continued, this trust was established 3 weeks after the divorce petition was filed. Rasheeda's lawyer leaned forward, eyes wide. Your Honor, this is blatant asset concealment. The trust contains, at least I'll save you the trouble. Jasmine interrupted. $1.4 million. The gallery exploded into noise. Reporters scribbled furiously. Even the bailiff shifted uncomfortably. Kirk's lawyer's voice rose above the chaos. There is no proof that these funds originated from marital assets. Oh, there's proof, Jasmine said with a smirk. And it's on this flash drive. She held up another USB, this one with a bright yellow sticker marked Final. The judge gestured for the clerk to take it. Within moments, the screen at the front of the courtroom lit up. Transaction history scrolled down in bold numbers, each one linking directly from Kirk's disclosed business accounts to the trust under Lauren's name. One transfer caught everyone's eye. $250,000 labeled marketing budget allocation. Sent the exact same day, Rasheeda's legal team requested a freeze on his primary business account. The judge's expression hardened. Mr. Frost, do you have any explanation for this? Kirk's voice was strained, defensive. She's a consultant. She's been helping you hide money. Jasmine cut in. Rasheeda finally spoke. Her voice low but sharp enough to pierce the tension. You told me we couldn't afford to fix the roof on the store because things were tight. Meanwhile, you were wiring $250,000 to your side chick. Kirk flinched. Don't call her that, I'll call her. Whatever I want, Rasheeda snapped. And after today, so will the entire city. The judge slammed the gavel for order. This court will be issuing an immediate injunction to freeze the Lauren Frost Trust pending full investigation. Furthermore, we will be requesting international cooperation to track any offshore holdings connected to this trust. Kirk's shoulders slumped. His lawyer whispered urgently in his ear, but his eyes stayed locked on Jasmine, burning with quiet fury. Jasmine leaned back in her seat, satisfaction radiating off her. I told you, she murmured toward Rasheeda. I wasn't here to play. But she wasn't done yet. One last thing, she said, raising her voice. Those transfers. They weren't just for Lauren's personal expenses. They were also funding a silent partnership in a new business. In Rasheeda's own industry, Rasheeda's brow furrowed. What? Jasmine's smirk widened. He's been setting up a boutique in Miami. Same style, same target market. Even some of your suppliers. And guess who's listed as the sole owner? The answer landed like a punch. Lauren Frost. The room went silent except for the frantic tapping of reporters' keyboards. Rasheeda sat back in her chair, stunned. The betrayal wasn't just personal or financial anymore. It was professional. He'd been planning to compete with her. Using their own money to build the rival business, the judge shook her head. Mr. Frost, this is beyond unethical. We will address the business matter separately, but for now, consider this court in possession of overwhelming evidence against you. Kirk muttered something under his breath, but it didn't matter. The damage was done as the judge banged the gavel to adjourn for the day. The gallery erupted into noise again. Cameramen rushed to get shots of Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine all in the same frame. Outside, the courthouse steps were already swarming with press, waiting for someone to speak. Rasheeda gathered her things slowly, her lawyer whispering next steps in her ear. Jasmine stood, adjusting her bag, and as she passed Rasheeda, she paused. That's all I've got. For now, she said with a knowing look. Rasheeda didn't reply, but the fire in her eyes said everything. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. And somewhere in the back of the courtroom, a man in a dark suit who had been silently watching the entire proceeding pulled out his phone and made a call. Yeah, he said into the receiver. She knows about Lauren. We need to move the rest before she finds it. If Rasheeda had heard that conversation, she'd know that as damning as today had been for Kirk. The deepest secrets were still hiding in places Jasmine hadn't touched yet. And just like that, what was supposed to be a standard day in court turned into one of the most explosive, reputation-shattering hearings in love and hip-hop history. Jasmine didn't just show up. She came locked, loaded, and ready to dismantle Kirk's entire defense in front of the judge, the lawyers, and the entire world. Hidden accounts, offshore transfers, a secret trust under the name Lauren Frost. And now the revelation of a competing business set to go head-to-head with Rasheeda's, all funded with marital money. The judge has already frozen the trust and ordered a forensic audit. But the bigger question is, what happens next? Will Kirk's so-called consultant Lauren try to fight back? Will more names start popping up as the audit digs deeper? And if the man in the dark suit at the back of the courtroom was who we think he was, how much more money is being moved right now to stay out of Rasheeda's reach? One thing's for sure, this war is far from over. Every move Kirk makes from this point forward will be watched, recorded, and dissected. And if Rasheeda's glare today was any indication, it's not stopping until she's taken every last hidden dime. And maybe even the career he built on those lies. If you're ready for the next chapter in this saga, hit that like button right now so we know you're locked in. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Jasmine is truly on Rasheeda's side, or is she playing her own game? And make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because when the next round of receipts drops, you'll want to be here first to see it all unfold.